Great rock songs take us places, but the greatest take us places we never expected. These are songs we didn't see coming. Songs that didn't just fade out or end on a happy note.
And man, the poets down here don't write nothing at all. They just stand.
These songs go off the rails. They melt. They explode. Number 10, The Who, My Generation.
Yeah, hope I die before I get old.
Most songs in 1965 ended with the standard fade-out, but My Generation ends in bursts of guitar feedback from Pete Townshend's Rickenbacker, collapsing into noise instead of resolving. Townsend overdubbed that furious feedback after the basic track was cut. It was a choice, not an accident. The song couldn't just end politely. Roger Daltrey's vocal stutter already sounds like a man about to snap.
Just because we
Daltrey later suggested nerves and trouble hearing himself in the studio played into it. Townsend said he also wanted the delivery to sound like a mod flying on pills. Either way, it sounds like the instruments are falling apart by the end of the song. Live, the chaos went further. Townsend smashed guitars, and Moon made destruction part of the ending too. From an ending all about attitude to an ending that tells a story. Number 9, Meatloaf, Paradise by the Dashboard Light.
walking by the lake and there was not another car inside.
Songwriter Jim Steinman wanted to write the ultimate car and sex song where everything goes horribly wrong. And he succeeded. The song feels like a 4-act play, a teenage backseat fumble, narrated by Phil Rizzuto calling a baseball game. The boy rounds the bases. On the record, Ellen Foley's character stops him at the plate and demands a lifetime commitment. And he swears he'll love her forever just to close the deal.
Now I think he's gonna make it.
Then the final act kicks in. Paradise ended. The couple is trapped in a relationship built on a vow he never meant. The boy who swore eternal love now prays for the end of time. The song doesn't give us a happy ending. It fades out with our main characters stuck. In early live shows, Carla DeVito took the female role, and the band extended the ending into a spoken word fight where the couple screamed at each other about divorce, ending with DeVito yelling, "And I'll keep the baby," while Meatloaf screamed incoherently back at her. The next song ends one of the most iconic albums ever on a tragic note. Number 8, Bruce Springsteen, Jungle Land.
And a magic rat drove this sleek machine over the Jersey.
For nearly 10 minutes, Jungle Land feels like a movie. It's got street races and doomed lovers, and Clarence Clemens playing a tenor saxophone solo that took 16 hours to record because Springsteen made him replay it note by note until it was perfect. And the final act feels like the rug being pulled out from under your feet. The characters are crushed. The magic rat is brought down by his own dream. The youthful hope of escaping to a better life is gone.
And man, the poets down here don't write nothing at all. They just stand.
The song tells you the poets down here don't write nothing at all. They just stand back and let it all be. Then Springsteen lets out a wordless wail he later described as the vocal outro that finished the song in bloody operatic glory. The band pushes higher one last time just when you think there's nothing left, leaving everyone exhausted and gasping for breath. From a man howling into the void, to a man confessing his love to an inflatable doll. Number 7, Roxy Music, In Every Dream Home, a Heartache.
In every dream home, a heartache.
For 3 minutes, Brian Ferry delivers a sinister monologue over a cycling Farfisa organ figure. The tone is subdued, brooding, almost robotic. He's describing his perfect consumerist lifestyle: the penthouse, the possessions, the emptiness. Then the punchline lands: I blew up your body, but you blew my mind.
I blew up your body, but you blew my mind.
The object of his obsession is an inflatable doll. The moment that line hits, the band crashes into a dissonant coda with frantic drumming, while Phil Manzanera's guitar tears through a somber, distorted solo. The song that spent 3 minutes in a controlled trance explodes into chaos. Everything the narrator kept bottled up comes pouring out through the instruments. On the original vinyl, the song appears to fade out into the run-out groove, then returns with the closing section heavily processed through phase shifting, making the false ending feel even more disorienting. From a mind blown by an inflatable doll to a sonic head-on collision. Number 6. The Velvet Underground, The Gift. In this 1968 art rock classic, John Cale reads a short story in the left channel while a rock instrumental plays in the right. It's the story of Waldo Jeffers, a lovesick college student who mails himself to his girlfriend in a cardboard box. The band's instrumental builds underneath, originally developed from live jams, driven by Cale's fuzz bass and Maureen Tucker's steady, relentless drumming.
He would ship himself parcel post special delivery. The next day, Waldo went.
As the story gets darker, the instrumental gets heavier. The two channels feel like they're speeding right toward each other. As the story reaches its climax, the instrumental escalates into noise. Then Marcia's friend Sheila can't get the box open. She grabs a sheet metal cutter. The sound effect that punctuates the ending was made at Frank Zappa's suggestion. Lou Reed stabbed a cantaloupe to simulate the cutter going through the box and into Waldo's head.
Through the cushioning and right through the center of Waldo Jeffers' head.
From a stabbed cantaloupe to a scream that could shatter glass. Number 5. Deep Purple, Child in Time.
Sweet child in time, you'll see the light.
For over 10 minutes, Child in Time cycles between delicate, brooding passages and explosive bursts. Ian Gillan's vocal climbs higher and higher, pushing into frequencies that don't even sound human. The screams sound like a man about to lose control completely. Each one pushes further than the last until he's unleashing pure agony. The song was inspired by the Cold War, and Gillan sang it like a man staring straight into the nuclear age. Then, John Lord's Hammond organ detonates. Between Gillan's screams and the violent interplay between Lord's organ and Ritchie Blackmore's guitar, the song tears itself apart from both sides. Live, the song stretched past 12 minutes. In single edits and some compilations, labels cut it down to about 4.5. The edit gutted the build, the soloing, and the sense of escalation, missing the whole point of the song. The next meltdown would go on to influence every chaotic song that came after it. Number 4. The Beatles, A Day in the Life. With Lennon's dreamy verses and McCartney singing about a rushed morning routine, the song already felt like two different worlds colliding. Then George Martin stitched them together with an orchestral build that sounded like the end of the world. Martin told 40 musicians to start at their lowest possible note and end on their highest, with nothing but a squiggly line connecting the two. The classically trained players looked at him like he was insane. The result was a 24-bar orchestral crescendo that climbs until it feels like the room is going to crack open. Then silence. 5 men hit 3 pianos and a harmonium at the same time. One massive E major chord that rings for over 40 seconds. The engineers cranked the faders so high to capture the decay that the microphones picked up rustling papers and a squeaking chair.
Fell out of bed, dragged a comb across my head.
We're counting down 10 classic rock songs that end in total chaos. We've heard rebellious feedback, final act plot twists, stabbed cantaloupes, and an orchestral riot. But the top three go further. A drug experience simulated in real time, a singer so high on acid he turned the studio into a crime scene, and a number one ending that builds until it sounds like the whole machine is overheating. Number 3. The Velvet Underground, Heroin. Heroin doesn't just describe a drug experience, it recreates one. The song starts slow. Lou Reed strums gently, then the tempo accelerates. John Cale's electric viola starts droning, then scraping, then feeding back. The drums speed up, the guitars get louder and more frantic. Everything rushes to a peak. Then it collapses, back down, and then it starts building again. The repeated surges and crashes were so chaotic that drummer Maureen Tucker lost her place entirely at 5 minutes 17 seconds. She stopped playing because she couldn't hear anything over the noise. She assumed someone would stop the take, but nobody did. She came back in on her own, and her moment of real confusion stayed in the final recording.
Now let's find my life, 'cause when the blood begins to...
From a song that mimics losing control to one that's a real psychological breakdown. Number 2. The Doors, The End.
This is the end, beautiful friend.
The End evolved through months of performances at the Whiskey A Go-Go, where the Doors stretched songs to fill their sets. It grew longer and stranger every night. Then, in late August 1966, Jim Morrison arrived high on acid and improvised the Oedipal climax. Father, I want to kill you. Mother, I want to... The room was stunned. The band was fired after the show.
And all the children are...
In the studio, Morrison was in a chaotic, acid-fueled state. He smashed a television in the control room. He came back in the middle of the night, stripped naked, and drenched the studio with a fire extinguisher. But the album version was built from 2 live studio takes edited together. Morrison recorded the same Oedipal rant, but the most explicit parts were buried in the mix, making them nearly impossible to hear. Producer Rothschild called it one of the most beautiful moments I've ever had in a recording studio.
Yes, son. I want to kill you.
But the number 1 spot goes to a song that still takes listeners by surprise, no matter how many times they've heard it. Number 1. The Beatles, I Want You, She's So Heavy. For the last 3 minutes of I Want You, She's So Heavy, the same musical phrase repeats over and over while John Lennon uses the white noise generator on a Moog synthesizer to create a wind that slowly and steadily gets louder. Lennon and Harrison layered overdub after overdub of heavy, distorted guitar until the sound became a wall of hypnotic noise. McCartney played an aggressive bass line. Ringo laid down jazzy, relentless drums. The white noise builds from a hum to a howl, sounding like a machine overheating. Then, at 7 minutes 44 seconds, mid-phrase, mid-note, it all stops. Instant, total, jarring silence. John Lennon told engineer Jeff Emmerich to cut it right there, and Emmerich had assumed they'd do a standard fade-out. But Lennon wanted the opposite. He wanted the tape slashed. For 3 minutes, the song builds pressure with no release. The white noise keeps rising. The rift keeps cycling. Your ears start bracing for a resolution that never comes. What Lennon was trying to say with the sudden cutoff is anybody's guess, but the feeling it creates sticks with you. When all the noise is gone, and all that's left is the void. That's our list. 10 songs that pushed us into new chaotic places. What other song should have made the list? Let us know in the comments.